You might be wondering, why does this film open with shots of prehistoric wilderness? Is this some kind of mistake? Meet our distant ancestor, a female Australopithecus named Lucy, carefully drinking water from a river with her hand. Trust me, you will want to stay to find the answer to that question alongside the main character, modern-day Taipei, loud, bright, full of movement. A young American woman named Lucy is standing outside the entrance of a luxury hotel, arguing with her new boyfriend, Richard. He is holding a metal briefcase. He's asking her to go inside and hand it to someone. 5 minutes, he says. Just drop it off and leave. Lucy feels that something is wrong. Every instinct is telling her to walk away. She tries to find an excuse, but he talks her into it. He has been promised $1,000 for the delivery, and he offers to split it with her if she agrees to carry the case in. And just when she tries to back out, Richard snaps a handcuff to her wrist and attaches it to the briefcase. She has no way out now. This setup is about to change absolutely everything that comes next. Inside, Lucy is greeted by a hostess and tells her she is there to see a Mr. Chang. Armed men move toward her like hungry cheetahs, and right in front of her eyes they shoot Richard dead. No warning, no explanation, not a moment of hesitation. Lucy is in shock. She does not understand what is happening or why. They grab her and bring her before a Korean drug lord named Mr. Zhang. She is terrified. Zhang is cold, precise, with the composed manner of a man who has never worried about anything in his life, because he has always gotten exactly what he wanted.
I'm just supposed to deliver this case. If you lost the key, you don't have to chop off my hand. You can just cut the chain, okay?
Lucy is crying and begging to be let go. She knows nothing about the briefcase or what is inside it. Richard set her up. Zhang writes a code on a piece of paper so she can open the case herself. Then he and his men step into the next room. She opens it and reports back. A purple, crystalline powder. Zhang returns to confirm, yes, that is his product. He tests its effects on some poor soul right there in front of her. It is terrifying to watch. And then, with Lucy looking on, he disposes of the test subject without a second thought. She is horrified by what she is seeing. Zhang offers Lucy a job. She refuses, but they make it very clear that her refusal means nothing here. Meanwhile, the film cuts to Professor Norman, the world's leading neurobiologist, delivering a lecture to students about the potential of the human brain. Norman explains, the average person uses around 10% of their brain's capacity. Nobody knows precisely what happens when that number starts to climb. There are theories, plenty of theories, but no real-world evidence exists. Not yet. Norman has no idea that in this very moment his theoretical lecture is becoming a live experiment on the other side of the planet.
The only living being that uses its brain better than us, the dolphin.
Lucy wakes up with something sutured inside her body and a new understanding of her situation. She is not a person anymore. She is a container. The delivery method is simple and brutal. Bags of the powder are sewn directly into the abdomen, under the skin. The procedure was carried out right there in the hotel room. A man comes in and explains the arrangement briefly and clearly. There's a new synthetic substance called CPH4. It needs to reach Europe. She and 3 other people will be the carriers, just a body with contents that needs to get from point A to point B and then be discarded. But things do not go according to plan. One of Zhang's guards takes a liking to Lucy and starts making advances in her cell. She refuses him. He kicks her hard in the stomach, with full force and no thought of the consequences. That is the exact moment the bag of powder inside her ruptures. CPH4 begins absorbing into her bloodstream, slowly at first, then faster and faster. A violent seizure overtakes her, one in which even the laws of gravity seem to stop applying.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Lucy comes back to herself and immediately senses that something inside her has fundamentally changed. She can feel every single cell in her body, literally every one. She gets to her feet. A guard walks in, and within seconds she takes him apart. Fast, effortless, no fear, no hesitation whatsoever. As if it is the most natural thing she has ever done, she walks out free. The same fate waits for every guard she encounters on the way out. She sits down to eat, and notices she's been shot. She pulls the bullet out with complete calm, like it is nothing more than a splinter. She threatens a taxi driver into taking her to a hospital, demanding that the doctors explain what is happening to her. On the way there, she notices strange things. She can see the electromagnetic signals from cell phones in the air around her, like streams of color. She can hear conversations through walls. At the hospital, she threatens the surgeon too, insisting he cut her open right now. No anesthesia needed. While he extracts the remaining bags, Lucy has a quiet and unexpectedly tender phone call with her mother, promising her she's going to take care of herself.
If it really is CPH4, in this quantity, I'm amazed you're still alive.
The surgeon tells her something important. CPH4 is a synthetic version of a substance the female body produces naturally in the 6th week of pregnancy, in minuscule quantities, just enough to give the very first cells of a developing embryo their initial burst of energy. What is dissolving into Lucy's blood right now is pure concentrate, in a dose the human body has never received before and has no defense mechanisms for. The process has already started. It cannot be stopped. All anyone can do now is watch what happens next. Lucy's abilities grow with every passing hour, but alongside them grows another problem. CPH4 is unlocking the brain's new capabilities, and at the same time, destroying the body's cells at an accelerating rate. She has 24 to 48 hours. After that, her body will simply break apart at the molecular level. If she cannot find the remaining 3 packets of CPH4 still being carried by 3 other couriers of rungs somewhere in the world and inject them into herself, she will die. So alongside gaining superhuman abilities, Lucy is simultaneously working on 3 fronts: reaching Professor Norman, recovering the remaining drug, and dealing with Mr. Jiang once and for all.
I missed you.
Me too.
Lucy contacts Professor Norman directly via video and demonstrates her abilities. The information she puts in front of him overturns everything he has built his career on. Her brain capacity at the time of the call, 28%. At first, he cannot bring himself to believe what he is hearing, but Lucy makes him believe fast. She connects to every screen in his room simultaneously. She shares with him the scale of what she now understands about the world, and it leaves him genuinely shaken. She asks for his guidance. What should she do with everything she now knows while she still can? Norman advises her to think about the nature of life from the very beginning. The entire purpose of the very first cell that ever existed was to pass on its knowledge. That, he tells her, is exactly what Lucy should do. Share what she has. She packs her things, says goodbye to a friend, and boards a flight to find the professor.
Kidneys aren't functioning efficiently. Your liver's failing you. You need to make some lifestyle changes. Take this medication, work out.
Right at the airport, she changes her hair color to avoid being recognized. Another new capability unlocked as her brain reaches 30%. She calls the police to report Jiang's operation. At first, the officer on the line treats the call as a joke, until Lucy describes every detail of his office in real time. He starts listening as she gives him the locations of the remaining couriers. Her one condition: the powder comes to her. The police track down the couriers, move fast, and bring them to a clinic to extract the last packets of CPH4. Lucy gets on the plane and flies to Paris. Along the way, she hacks into banking systems, government databases, and intelligence networks around the world, not because she wants power, but because the information she is gathering is what she needs for what comes next. Something frightening happens on board. When she drinks a glass of champagne, the alcohol interacts with the CPH4 and her cells begin to destabilize. Her brain has already reached 40%. She literally starts coming apart physically, right there in her seat, her body losing its form. She takes an additional dose from the supply she brought with her. She stabilizes. But she understands now. Every second matters. Brain capacity, 50%. In Paris, she ends up at a police precinct, where she finally gets her bearings. From the very first moment with the captain, she makes her position clear. They will not be able to stop her, and they would do well to listen. Captain Pierre Del Rio becomes the one person in authority she decides to trust. While the couriers are being transported to the clinic, Jiang's people begin tailing the police convoy. He is not going to let those couriers go, or more precisely, the powder inside them. Lucy picks up their communications, using her expanded senses, and she and the captain race to the clinic.
This is a police car.
Zhang's men storm the precinct where the couriers have been brought. Every officer is disarmed. The gang begins extracting the powder from the couriers right there on the spot. One courier tries to run and shots break out. Then Lucy arrives. Brain capacity 60%. She handles every one of them using nothing but the force of her mind and her expanding abilities. Nobody can stop her, and she takes the case with the extracted CPH-4. She tells the captain to come with her, though he cannot understand why. She is practically a superhero at this point. What could she possibly need him for? Lucy tells him simply, he is the last thing she still does not fully understand about being human. And she kisses him. As they pull away, Zhang spots them. Lucy arrives at the Sorbonne where Professor Norman is waiting with a group of the world's leading scientists, people he managed to assemble in just a few hours. Time is almost up. Lucy explains what needs to happen. Everything she has learned in the past 24 hours, every discovery, every answer to questions humanity has been asking for millennia. She wants to hand all of it to them. This experience cannot disappear with her. The scientists listen to her with the expression of people who understand they are standing in front of something completely impossible and watching it happen right in front of their eyes. What they are seeing looks like nothing real. Lucy assures them, time is the only thing that actually defines everything around us. It is the only true unit of measurement. Without time, none of us exist. At that moment, Yang's men breach the building. Gunfire, chaos. Del Rio's officers try to hold them off in the corridors. Norman expresses concern that humanity may not be ready for everything Lucy wants to transmit, that this knowledge could cause bloodshed and destruction. And Lucy delivers the line that cuts straight to the heart of the film. It is not knowledge that brings destruction. It is human ignorance. She sits down in a chair, receives an intravenous injection of the contents of all 3 remaining CPH-4 packets, and everything changes. Her body begins to dissolve, transforming into a living black substance that spreads across every surface in the lab, flows into every computer, into every wire, connecting all of them into a single massive supercomputer, a vessel for everything she knows. And as the machine builds itself before the scientist's eyes, her brain capacity accelerates at a breathtaking rate, 70, 80, 90%.
What is she making? New generation computer, I presume.
Zhang breaks into the lab and aims his weapon at Lucy, but Lucy's not entirely here anymore. She is traveling through time and space, watching the history of the Earth run backward. Cities vanish, continents drift, forests grow up where deserts were, oceans reshape themselves. She watches the first spark of life in the primordial ocean. She witnesses the Big Bang, the moment when everything came from nothing. And at one point in this journey she meets her namesake, that same Australopithecus Lucy from the opening of the film 3.5 million years ago at the river's edge. They reach toward each other and touch fingertips, the beginning and the end of one unbroken story called humanity. She understands everything, 99%. The destination is almost reached. Zhang pulls the trigger. The bullet hits an empty chair. Lucy is gone. All that remains is her clothing and a supercomputer that is slowly dissolving. Del Rio shoots Zhang. Norman carefully removes a small black flash drive from the machine. Everything Lucy managed to preserve for those who are left behind. "Where is she?" the captain asks, and his phone vibrates. A text message from an unknown number. 2 words, "I am everywhere." That message is more than enough. The film does not answer what that means. It simply leaves you with it. Lucy began the film as an ordinary young woman who ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time. She ended it as something entirely new, something for which we do not yet have a word, not human, not a machine, not a god in any familiar sense, something that did not exist before, and the only thing she left behind is knowledge, which is now in the hands of humanity. Along with one question, what are we going to do with it?